What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is the man with the hottest wheels, Corey Hot Wheels, coming at you for another episode of Wrestling with Wheels. But we're also going to add some gaming content in today's episode as well. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, I had this episode all wrote up where I was going to talk about Final Battle, Emergence, or whatever the last Impact Plus show was, and NXT Deadline. But, a few weeks since those events have passed, and, I just didn't get around to making the video, and, because I've been super busy, with holiday stuff, with wrestling stuff. You know how busy the holidays get, so I decided instead I'm going to do a list of my top 10 wrestlers from the year 2023. And I'm also going to talk about my top 10 video games of 2023. Which I'll explain how I do my video games, once we're done with the wrestling. But, since this show is primarily about wrestling, we'll do the wrestling first. I just didn't want to do two videos, so we're just going to combine it into one. So, how this is going to work, I'm going to give you my top 10 wrestlers, explain why I picked them, and, we'll go from there. I was going to throw in a couple indie guys as well, but, I didn't, not a lot of people follow the indies, unfortunately. So, these guys that I know may not wrestle in your area, so I threw up a list of guys from like AEW, WWE. I just realized I didn't put any TNA guys in, but oh well. Some of these guys did wrestle in TNA in 2023, so, I just threw out a list of wrestlers that I feel really impressed me. So, let's get started. So, we're going to talk about, 10, 9, and 8 together. Because in 2023, these three gentlemen were highly associated with each other. Put on some absolutely incredible matches on Ring of Honor and on AEW TV. So, in order, number 10 is Commander. Number 9 is Gringo Loco, and number 8 is the AAA Mega Champion, Eugenio del Vikingo. If I'm saying that right. I only did 1 year of Spanish in high school, so you're going to have to forgive me, and that was 9 years ago. So, like I said, these three guys have just put on absolutely amazing matches. Kept me intrigued, especially Vikingo, an absolutely amazing talent from AAA that has, wrestled in AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact. The list goes on. Gringo Loco, he's actually from Chicago and has adopted the Lucha Libre style. And then, of course, Commander. He just won the AAA Cruiserweight title, it was, I do believe. He's been, running around with the Lucha Brothers, which I'm a big fan of the Lucha Brothers. I actually did see them live twice now. I saw them once at an indie show and then once at AEW. I went to an AEW show. It was absolutely incredible. That was back in 2021 or 2. Yeah, I think that was in 22 I did that AEW show in Charleston, West Virginia. So, these three guys, like I've said, just impressed the heck out of me. If you don't have Honor Club, I highly recommend it. They put on some amazing matches on that show, and, and that's where a lot of the three of these guys wrestle a lot. Vikingo usually comes out on top, but, all three of these guys can go in the ring. And if you're a big fan of high-flying lucha libre like I am, these guys will not disappoint. So, at number 7, this is a team. So, two of these guys are together, and that is the Acclaimed. Now, I have loved these guys since their days on AEW Dark. And, even when they were heel and Max Caster just wrote these amazing heel raps. And, they've gotten so over with the fans. The whole Scissor Me Daddy thing. I still need to get me a shirt that says that. But, these guys, what they've done with the Trios division in AEW this year. Finally winning the Trios titles and at Wembley, and it was just absolutely amazing. And, just one of my favorite teams in wrestling right now, and I think they're such a perfect fit with AEW, and, I look forward to seeing what they do in 2024. And then, number 6 is Edge, Adam Copeland. He was in WWE at the start of the year, now he's in AEW. And Edge has always been one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. I watched when he retired, and, and then he came back in 2020, and I went crazy. Because nobody knew, and nobody thought he was ever going to wrestle again. And now he's in AEW tearing it up with Christian Cage. And, he put on his last match in WWE with Sheamus in Toronto. And that was an incredible match. I mean, for being gone for 9 years, Edge could still go at his age. And he's just an incredible performer, an incredible talent. Someone who I've had the absolute pleasure of growing up and watching. So, I'm proud to put Edge in my top 10 list of wrestlers for this year. Now, at number 5, now I may get some questions as to why I put this guy, in front of Edge. Because I know he's kind of hit or miss. But he's somebody that's really impressed me, especially since he's done his face run. I remember watching him, on that Evolve special that WWE did on Peacock a couple of years ago. And, he came to AEW, he lost to Cody Rhodes, and, he was a heel for a while, and then, he turned face, and he's just been having the absolute most incredible run of his career. Being in the finals of the Continental Classic, ringing the Ring of Honor World title, and ringing the New Japan Strong Openweight title. You guys know who I'm talking about. It's Eddie Kingston. No, this guy's not the biggest, buffed wrestler, but, just the way he talks on the mic, and, the way he can go in the ring. I think he's probably, 40 or over now, and, in my opinion, one of the best guys that ever really hit, the so-called big leagues in WWE. But, he's just somebody that's really impressed me. Somebody who I've really gotten behind this year. I've talked about him a lot on this show. I was really, really happy when he won the Ring of Honor title from Claudio. So, Eddie Kingston, I'm proud to have you on my list, brother, and I look forward to seeing what you do, and I hope you can win the Continental Classic. I think that match with Jon Moxley at AEW World's End is going to be incredible. So, AEW pay-per-views are a little out of my price range. Tony Khan, you really need to put it on a streaming service. I promise you'll get your views. But, I'm sure that's going to be an incredible match. And, I can't wait to see who comes out on top. And then underneath that is the current Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena. So I remember when she first came into the WWE as Ember Moon, I thought she was going to be NXT champion. She didn't end up doing it. Was she a Raw Women's Champion at one point? I can't remember if she ever won that or not. I'd have to look it up. But, she's been doing incredible things with Ring of Honor. The story with her, Billy Starks, and Lexi Nair has been one of my favorite stories to watch this year. The match at Final Battle between the two of them was absolutely incredible. I personally did want to see Billy Starks go over, but I understand. Billy Starks is young, still needs time to develop a little bit, but her and Nick Wayne, for being as young as they are, Billy Starks, that is, have been doing really well this year. But, I think Athena has carried the Ring of Honor women's division on her back. Just her heel run has been absolutely amazing. Incredibly fun to watch. So, congrats to Athena for making my top 10 list. And then, at number 3, we have Solo Sikoa. The enforcer of the bloodline. This guy, I think he's going to be a world champion soon. He reminds me a lot of Umaga. I didn't get into wrestling yet when Umaga was actually wrestling, but I would watch tons of his old matches on YouTube when I was a teenager. And, I loved watching Umaga. God rest his soul. And Solo reminds me so much of him. And, what he did to John Cena, who was, my all-time favorite wrestler. And at Crown Jewel, he decimated John Cena. So, and I think he's going to break out of the bloodline soon and be a world champion. I think Paul Heyman should stick to, being his manager and speaking for him. Because Solo, in my opinion, doesn't really have the promo thing down yet. But, there was a lot of guys in the 80s who had managers do all their promos. King Kong Bundy. The list goes on and on, But, Solo just, I think, needs to be a destruction type guy and, have a manager to kind of accompany him. It's time for a water break. And then at number 2, we have current NXT champion Ilya Dragunov. This guy, his matches with Carmelo Hayes, his matches with Dijak, Baron Corbin. This guy is friggin' incredible, and his endurance to pain is second to none. I'm really looking forward to his match with Trick Williams. I'd like to see Trick go over, if I'm being honest, but I really don't think that's going to happen at this point in time. But, nonetheless, Ilya Dragunov is number 2. And at number 1, the number 1 wrestler, my favorite wrestler of the year, is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, excuse me. What he has done on this face run, when they turned him face, I'm like, there is no way this guy can be a face. No way. And he has done well. Better Than You, baby. One of my favorite stables, the tag teams this year. I'm really looking forward to seeing his match with Samoa Joe, and I'm really looking forward to see what he does in 2024. If he stays with AEW, if he jumps ship over to WWE, I'm really looking forward to seeing what MJF does in 2024. And MJF is somebody who I have taken influence of when it comes to promos on wrestling. So, I think it was a pretty easy choice for me to make MJF number 1. And, congrats to MJF. his world title run, his success with Better Than You, baby. I'm really looking forward to seeing what, MJF does in 2024. But now, ladies and gentlemen, switching gears, it is now time to talk about my favorite video games of 2023. Now, I do my video games a little different. Everybody picks out their games that come out in the year, right? I don't do that. I talk about video games that I personally played this year. So, it can be a game from 10 years ago. It could be a game from this year. Whatever games I experienced this year, for the first time, and I just had an absolute blast with, they are on this list. I even have a game from the GameCube on here. And, we'll talk about that right now. And, a lot of people may say, really, this game? But, I had a lot of fun playing it. It was just a super fun game, especially, doing the dance thing where you had to move the arrows up and down. It was just an absolute blast to play, and that is the game based on the 2006 animated film of the same name, Happy Feet. Yes, Happy Feet is in my top 10 list of video games that I have played this year. I probably kept my neighbor up, playing the game on, when I had my Wii hooked up in here, because I use a original Wii for my GameCube games, and, it was just a lot of fun, the sliding scenes, trying to get a gold medal, and, it was just absolute blast to play, and I'm honestly probably going to revisit it again sometime. But number 9, a lot of people are going to question me for this, but, a lot of people said this game was terrible, and I loved it. It reminded me of one of my favorite video games of all time, Saints Row the Third, with the humor, and you probably know what I'm going to say, and I'm probably going to get a really Corey in the comments, but that is Saints Row 2022. Now, I played it, after all the bugs were fixed, and I just thought it was a fun time. The boss character's humor was funny. The missions were fun. It was just an absolute blast to play. I tried to 100% it, but it's kind of a little hard to get those last 2 tiers of the Criminal Empire, but it was just an absolute blast to play, and, it's getting really, really cheap now, so I would recommend giving it a shot. And I just thought it was a lot of fun, and I'm honestly probably going to revisit that again sometime too. Now, at number 8 is a sports game. I don't know the year that this came out, but this was on the PS3 and the Xbox 360, and that game is NFL Tour. So what this game is, it's kind of like football. Like, you play football, but they're dressed as rugby people, if that makes sense. And you're in this tour stadium, and you go all around to these different areas, and you play these different teams and try to be the best. And I just think the game is an absolute blast. There's no field goals or no kicking. You throw the ball to the other team after you score. You go for it on 4th down no matter what, and then, like, a 2-point conversion is a pass or a run from the 10-yard line, and then, like, the extra point is you throw it from the 5. So, and each quarter only lasts like a minute and 30 seconds, so sometimes you're really scrounging to, score points and try to win before the time runs out, which I think I have talked about it here on the channel before. But, that is my number 8 game that I have played this year. And at number 7 is Super Mega Baseball 4. Right? I think it's 4. Yeah, it's 4. The one that came out this year for the Switch, which is what I played it on. It's on other platforms as well, but I got it for the Switch. I downloaded Super Mega Baseball Extra Innings, I think it was. It was that game that was on Games with Gold one time, when that was still a thing. And I absolutely loved it. And, it brings the characters from those games in with MLB characters. So I have a team where I have David Ortiz on my team, Johnny Damon, old Red Sox players. So I'm happy about that. I haven't quite figured out how to hit the home run ball yet, but it's still a lot of fun to play. So, that game has made it into my number 7 spot. And at number 6 is a game that is oh so satisfying. A lot of gamers have played it and have absolutely loved it. Me being one of them, and that is Power Wash Simulator. Yes, I love that game. I need to officially own that game and get all the DLC. I just play it on Game Pass right now, but I need to get that game and, get the paid DLC. I have all the free DLC, but I need to get the paid one where it's like the SpongeBob one, the Back to the Future one. That game is just a lot of fun to play, and it's a really good game if you just need to sit and chill and relax and de-stress. It is so much fun. I highly recommend it. And then, the game that has officially gotten me in to playing these games without increasing all my sliders, and that is NBA 2K23. Yes. I've been playing the My Career mode on it. I do have 24, and I've been playing that a little bit too, but I haven't finished 23 yet. I haven't done all the Michael Jordan moments yet, and I haven't finished the My Career story yet. So, but this is the game that, I figured out. I'm like, just turn off that bar, and, I could still win by big margins, without turning up all my sliders to make everything. So, I am including that game in my list this year. It has been an absolute blast to play. I've been playing that on the Series X, and I got 24 on the PS5, so I've kind of been playing both a little bit. So, that game is number... number 6. I had to count. And then at number 5 is a game I have been wanting to play for a long time. But we all know Wii U games are going up in price. And I found this at I've talked about this store before, Peddler's Junction. And I found it for a heck of a deal. And I snagged it. And the game was in excellent condition. And it's just been super fun to play. I haven't picked it up in a bit, but it's so satisfying trying to fill all the worlds with color and, paint the towns and all that. And that is Paper Mario Color Splash for the Wii U. Yes. A game I wish I would have bought, back when it came out, but, I was into collecting Blu-rays and 4Ks at the time that I didn't watch. But, I finally got around to getting it. It was a heck of a deal, and I've had an absolute blast playing it. And at number 3 is a platformer that I did play on the Xbox One, back when it came out, but I never finished it. I never really got in. I played it a little bit, but I just kept dying because I really wasn't that good at it. And I found it for the Switch, and I picked it up and I just played it, and I pretty much have beaten it fully, except for the last world where you gotta try to get the medals. And that is New Super Lucky's Tale. Yes. You know, it has been one of my favorite 3D platformers that I have ever played. And there was even one part where I can't remember if it was a letter or a secret page you were getting, or it might have just been a diamond to get you coins. But anyway, it was this secret area where you had this Yeti monster type thing throwing barrels at you like old school Donkey Kong. So that was pretty cool. And there was a wrestling world in there. Like, you know, the Yeti Retreat, if you've ever played it. And then there was a character that looked like Macho Man Randy Savage. So the wrestling fan in me absolutely loved it. So that was number 3 on my list of games. And at number 2 is WWE 2K23. Now, you know, I loved what they did with 2K22, you know, bringing the different characters from different backgrounds, having the different little stories that you play. But this year, and I still need to finish the female version, which I'm probably going to do that this weekend. And you get your male character and you get a female, and there's actually a story for the My Career mode. And then you have the John Cena showcase, and I just thought all of them were a blast to play. I love what 2K's doing with the video games. I love the story-driven My Career. I even love the 2K20 My Career mode. You know, it reminded me a lot of the old Road to WrestleManias. It's just 2K20 was buggy as all get out. I mean, it was playable, but you could tell there were bugs in it. So, like when you were doing that 4 horsewomen thing, like the bugs in it were just, you could tell. And they needed to go back to the drawing board. And what they've done with 2K22 and 23 has just been amazing. So that is number 2. And at number 1, my game of the year for 2023 is a game that actually came out this year. And it's for my favorite video game series of all time. You know, it's been a lot of fun to play, especially playing as our friendly, lovable green dinosaur. And I think you know what I'm going to say. And that is Super Mario Wonder. Now, just the power-ups in this game have been cool. I was so excited when this game came out. And Nintendo did not disappoint. And I have just had a blast playing it. And I have been Yoshi more times than I can count. I will admit it. Hey, I play to have fun, not stress, okay? But, you know, it's just been an absolute blast to play and trying to find all the Wonder Seeds. And I am so glad we got another one after Super Mario Bros. U. You know, we've needed a new 2D Mario for a long time, and we finally got it. And if you haven't picked it up yet, do yourself a favor and pick it up. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. Hope you guys have had a Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a Happy New Year. I hope your 2024 is amazing. And I will see you guys in 2024. And cheers to a great year. Thank you all for your continued support. And, you know, follow, you know, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're on Facebook, you know, I'll post the link to the videos on my Corey Hot Wheels page. You know, check out the CT Berry page as well. You know, I've been doing some pretty amazing things with the wrestling as well. You know, you guys are going to have to follow that page to see what I do there. But cheers to a new year in 2024.